Have you ever wondered how the things you experienced as a child still influence you today? In this episode, we're diving into the power of your inner child and how embracing the playful, curious parts of you can actually transform the way you show up, not just personally, but professionally too. Stick around because what we uncover might just change the way you approach sales forever. Welcome to the Superhuman Selling Podcast. I have the most beautiful special guest for you today. This is my soul sister, I think my Scorpio soul sister, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Michelle Chalfant, the creator of the adult chair method. Your work is changing lives around the world. And I'm so excited to have you here on the show to help people understand, if they don't understand the power of inner child in business and sales,
Yes.
how it affects things. I know for myself, I had no idea what this was before I dove into it myself. I remember the first time I had a mentor walk me through inner child work. I thought, What is this? Why are we doing this? You've got to be kidding me." I came here for business coaching and you're having to connect with my inner child. And it was one of the most powerful things I've ever done. So, share a little bit more about who you are and some of your background that inspired you to create the adult chair model that you teach. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So I was a licensed therapist still am, but I don't see clients anymore, but for about 20 years. And I found that over the years, working with clients one on one, what I realized was we all have such similar stuff. Whether it be I'm working with an entrepreneur, or I'm working with a stay at home mom, or I'm working with a stay at home dad, or whoever it might be, we all have this very similar stuff. And that similar stuff is rooted in limiting beliefs.
Mm.
And what happened was I've had mentors over my whole life as well. And I kind of cobbled it together based on some things I learned from mentors, but have to say, I give the most credit to my clients
Mm.
because the feedback from clients in doing inner child work in particular, gosh, I think I've done that for 25 years. I mean, that was one of my first experiences doing and getting certified in NLP,
Mm.
neuro linguistic programming. So, anyway, so long story short, yes, that's who I am. I am someone that used to see clients. I don't see clients anymore, like I said, but I have the adult chair model that I created, which teaches people who they are and how they got this way.
Mm.
There's the podcast that goes with that. There's the coaching certification that goes with that. And I do live events, online courses. And yes, I'm a very busy girl.
Amazing. Amazing. And you're
But
launching a new book, which
I
we'll talk
haven't.
about a little bit at the end
The adult
as
chair
well.
book is coming out
Yeah.
May 6th of 2025.
So
So that's
exciting.
really exciting. Yeah. But you know what? Something that I learned like in the very beginning and had the experience with was the inner child.
Mm.
And it's truly some of the work that was not only the most powerful, but work I still do today. Like it's work that it's an ongoing process, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If someone's not familiar with inner child work, which I feel like we were talking about this last night at
Hmm.
dinner, the world is waking up, people are
Yeah.
becoming more conscious. It's really beautiful that we get to, I think, have conversations like this and even more mainstream applications. But no doubt there's people listening who maybe this is their first time really diving into it and wanting to understand. So,
Yeah.
what is inner child work? Who is our inner child? Do we all have one? Speak to that a little bit more.
Yeah. We all have an inner child because we were all children at one point in time.
Mm.
So what happens is from the ages of 0 to 6, we are children. So when we're 0 to 6, we are learning all about our emotions, our true needs, meaning not I need to have a cookie. I need a hug.
Mm.
I need someone to pick me up out of the crib. I'm I need to know that I'm loved. So those are true needs. So we learn about emotions, needs, creativity, fun, intimacy.
Mm.
Think about when you hold a baby. You're holding a baby and you're very intimate with that child. Vulnerability. We learn about all these things when we are children. The other thing that happens, which is so key to the inner child, is that from the age of 0 to 6, we're building this is crazy. We're building a roadmap for how we live the rest of our lives.
Mm.
So,
Not even conscious that we're doing that.
no,
Yeah.
we just, when we're children, we absorb everything from 0 to 6 that's around us.
Right.
Here's the problem, without discernment.
Yes. Yes, speak a little bit more to that.
Yeah, without
Um,
discernment.
yeah.
So, for example, if I'm a child and I'm coming home from kindergarten, let's just say, or preschool or whatever it might be, I'm 4 or 5 years old, and I'm so excited because I did this great finger painting, and I wanna run in and show my mom. So I run in the door and I can't find my mother, and she's in the bedroom, and she's got a migraine, but I don't know this.
Mm.
So she's got the lights off, she's just fallen asleep, and I come crashing in with my finger painting, and I'm so excited. "Mommy, mommy, look at my finger painting. The teacher said it was the best in the whole class." And I'm showing it and I'm waving it around. And she sits up and screams at me and tells me to get out of that bedroom, and turn off the blankety blank lights, and screams and yells.
Right.
And more than anything, I'm feeling the energy
Yeah.
of her anger, of her rage. And I take that on
Mm.
as there must be something wrong with me. Maybe I shouldn't be creative. I mean, we can form so many beliefs. It's crazy, but I'm not lovable. Don't be loud. Like maybe my mother
Mm.
said, "You're too loud. Shut up. Get out of my room." I might then interpret, because I don't have discernment to say, "Mommy has a migraine. So therefore, that's why she yelled at me." It's not about me. Of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even a 10-year-old's not going to say that.
We're always making it about ourselves.
It's
That's
always about
that's
ourselves.
the understanding and that's
Oh,
the
wait.
interpretation. Yeah.
And there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
It must be me. So I need to then contort who I am. And this is also when we start covering up our true self.
Ah,
Because the true self is who we come in as. And then we start saying, "Oh, don't do that again. Don't be loud. Don't be obnoxious. Don't be creative. Don't be quiet. You're too loud," whatever it might be. And then that roadmap, or that map, or that road on the map gets laid in the brain. And then that's how we function from 6 years old on,
wow.
until we update it.
Wow.
But most of us don't know we need to update it. Is that crazy?
Yeah.
Like,
It's yeah.
imagine that. I don't know how old you were when you were 6, and you don't have to say, but everyone go back to when you were 6. What
Yeah.
year was it?
Yeah.
Imagine if somebody handed you a paper map and said, "Drive around your town using this map
Mm,
from the year 19, whatever it might be," right?
right.
The stores wouldn't be there, the restaurants wouldn't be there, there'd be dead ends, there wouldn't be neighborhoods that are there now. You'd get lost,
Interesting.
right?
Yeah.
And that's how we navigate as adults, off of this very outdated roadmap.
Wow. So everyone has this going on, yet many
Everybody.
people just aren't aware
Most people are not.
that it's how does someone start to understand that, okay, there might be some inner child work that needs to be done, or
Yeah.
this is something that I gotta start addressing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me just back up and say, so after the age of 6, what happens is this child part of who we are basically has dropped in with all of its learnings into our unconscious mind, and it very much still navigates the show, but we're not
Mm,
conscious of it, right?
right.
So your question then of how do I know that we need to do this inner child work, we call it. I don't like the word work because, it's
Yeah.
work. What do you I call it inner child work, but I don't even like saying it. I feel like I need to come up with a new word for it, because it's like inner child processing even sounds better.
Sure.
How do I know that I need to do this inner child processing or inner child work? Is that I'm limited in life? Is that my relationships are failing, or I'm noticing I'm in bad patterns? So why do people keep leaving me?
Right.
Why is it that I keep getting fired from jobs?
Hmm.
Why is it that I'm afraid to take a risk? Why is it that I feel like I don't amount to anything? Why is it that I feel so when we because as humans, we're unlimited. Like
Right.
truly we are. It fascinates me. I have one of my closest friends cannot drive on the expressway
Hmm.
without someone else in the car. She's healthy, she's functioning. Why is that? It's her beliefs around that,
Driving.
right?
Yeah.
There's no physical reason why she can't. And so that's humans. We are, again, basing how we show up as adults based on limiting programming from this roadmap. Now, not everything in our roadmap is bad, right? Or negative, but so much of it is.
Mm,
And when we find in our lives that we're not able to take a risk, or we're stuck, or we're overwhelmed, whatever the heck it might be, that's when I go in and I say, okay, let's do this. Let's go find out where these beliefs are coming from because they're not conscious. They don't make
Mm.
sense. When people say to me, this doesn't even make sense.
Right.
Why am I not happy to go get a new job? Or why am I not worth $300,000 a year? What's wrong with me? It's not that you're not. You have a belief that's saying you're not worthy of that,
That makes so much sense.
right?
I've heard that, and I wanna hear your take on this. I've heard that any area of our life where it doesn't feel like flow, right? Like, we can all kinda think about those areas of life where things feel easy.
Yeah.
Like, I know for myself, I'm never gonna be a sports star. That's just not there's nothing that feels easy around that. But, like, podcasting, like, this that feels easy.
Yeah.
So we can all look to different areas of our life, whether someone is a mom and they think, "You know what? As a mom, I feel empowered. I don't feel a lot of doubt or limitation around myself. That part seems to flow easily. But maybe I'm trying to launch this business and I keep bumping up against challenges or it feels like resistance. So, any areas where things don't flow, where it feels like there's resistance, that there's some sort of limiting beliefs in that area. Is that true? Is that your interpretation or what? How do you see that?
Something that I do in my business is that something called parts work.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people know parts work
Yeah.
through internal family systems. My work is different. I've done parts work for a very long time. For me, it's a little bit more spiritual than Dick Schwartz does, but both great.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to the part of us, and so often it's linked to that inner child. It's can I give you an example of
Please.
what that
Yeah.
could look like? So let's say, well, what's something that you even find with your clients? Because sometimes our clients I know are kind of parallel, right?
Right.
I can't make the 300,000. What's wrong with me? Or again, why do I keep getting fired from these jobs? So my question always is, who doesn't feel that they can't make the $300,000 a
Mm-mm.
year? Who keeps getting fired? What are the beliefs that are coming up around that? So we always want to turn inward and go sit in or explore or get curious about what's coming up for us around that thing, that
Right.
block, that resistance, whatever it might be.
Mm.
So then we start exploring that. And oftentimes, when it comes to inner child work, again, inner child to me is one of our parts.
Okay.
It just happens to be the 0 to 6 year old part, and again, we could have 100 inner children in there. We could have a
Really?
2 year old. Oh yeah, we could have a 2 year old. We could have a 2 year old that has this issue. We've got a 6 year old over here doing this. So
It's a lot to keep track of.
yeah, but here's the thing. Typically, with the inner child, is we are working with. There's like a dominant part. Like I worked with my 5 year old for many years.
Hmm.
She just kept coming up, an aspect of my 5 year old. And interestingly enough, when I checked in with her a few months ago, she was eye level with me instead of a 5 year old. And I said, oh my gosh, she has grown up and now she's integrated in who I am today at my age today.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what does that look like when you check in with her? Is it just you close your eyes and you're asking
Yeah.
to connect and then you
Yeah.
get a visual, some sort of a download?
Yeah. So, for example, if I'm blocked around my job, let's just
Right.
say, or I'm blocked around making money or whatever it might be, what part of me is blocked? Who is it that's blocked? And not everybody is visual,
Oh.
but you might be visual, you might sense it, so you might get that tightness in your stomach or a lump in your throat or
Mhm.
tightness in your heart or your shoulders are tense. Um, you might hear a voice that says, "Oh, this voice is saying you're a piece of shit,"
Yeah.
or "This voice is saying you're this," whatever it might be. Okay, who's saying that?
Mm.
So I you can close your eyes and you can visualize and say, "Who's saying that?" Or just close your eyes and sense it or close your eyes and listen. And I just start getting curious about who's saying that. And then what we wanna do is introduce ourselves, the person we are today, the age we are today, and we let them know the year it is today and say, "Well, hello, little 3-year-old. It's
Mm.
me. It's Michelle. It's the year 2024. I'm an adult. I've come back in time to visit you."
Wow.
So this is where I even call this quantum parts work because we're going into this, like, spiritual or quantum field, and we're doing this work, and we're reparenting, we are aligning with, and we're letting that part of us know what's true today
Mm.
versus what was true back then. So I might re-educate that part and say, for example, the child in kindergarten that wanted to show mommy
Yeah.
the finger painting, I might say, mommy had a migraine or mommy had chronic migraine. She didn't know it really wasn't about you. She
Mm.
didn't know that you were so excited because she had such a bad migraine.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's it's mind-blowing work because the child will then go, "Oh, really?" And you're just listening for what's coming up.
Right.
And I always say to my clients or anyone I'm working with, go with the first thought that comes to you. And don't think you're crazy. Just go for it.
Just trust it.
Just listen and trust.
Yeah.
And you'll be amazed at what comes up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like the most powerful work.
Mm. That like got
Because
me emotional just there when you were
yeah,
talking to that.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because we're bringing up and we're touching these parts that are living in and running our lives from the unconscious mind
Mm.
that
Wow.
we're typically not aware of.
And the unconscious is running the vast majority
Running
of the show for
yeah, what,
us. Yeah.
90%, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is it so with your work too, and I'm so excited to get to talk with you more about this because I've obviously like I know you and love you as a friend and have dug into a lot of your podcasts and your material, but I understand there's also sort of inner adolescent work that you
Yeah.
do. Will you speak to that
Yeah.
a little bit and what that
Yeah.
looks like and maybe the difference between that
Yeah.
versus inner child?
So with the adult share model, we've got the child. So
Right.
that turns into, of course, the inner child at age 6 or 7. And then around that same age is more when the ego is more dominant. So it's not to say that the ego doesn't develop around
Right.
the age of 1 or 2, but it really comes online. And around 6 or 7 is when we notice that separation from all that is, from family. You'll notice what you have little kids. So you'll notice they don't even know how to say me or I until they're how old? Like 3, 4. So no they'll go, "Me wanna get dressed," or "Me want this ice cream cone," "Me want." So then we start and when we learn "I," it's really that ego coming on and separating us and putting us into the illusion that there is separation from all that is.
Mm.
So, when I go into the "I," again, around the age of 7, it's what we call living then in the adolescent chair, which is the adolescent phase. So it goes from around 7 to 24 years old.
Oh wow. Mm.
It's a big phase.
Yeah.
So we're learning about things like how do I fit into the world? Who do I need to be for you to love me, for
Yeah.
you to accept me? Because the ego is all around. It's based in fear and it's based on survival.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who do I need to change? How do I need to change so that you won't reject me from your group?
Mm.
From the family. So I start changing who I am. This is when we really are putting on this false self and all the masks that we wear. So when I'm with this group of people, I'll show up like this. When I'm over here, I'll show up like this, leaving underneath the masks that authentic self or the true self. So this is where we find codependency is based in narcissism, people pleasing, control. You know,
Mm.
but they're all, in doing all this parts work for so many years, like over 20 years, what I have found more than not is that these parts have such good intentions.
Yeah.
Even our controlling part, even our inner critic is trying so hard to keep us in line because it's trying to help us to get love or trying to help us to stay fitting in or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So again, we turn toward it, get to know it, and that's where it starts to transform. But that's the adolescent chair. So we live there from the age of, again, 7. So it's like pre-adolescence, adolescence, post-adolescence.
Okay.
And we're really learning how to show up in the world to keep ourselves safe,
Right.
right?
Right.
The ego only lives in the past and the future. So we know we're in the adolescent chair, we say, when we're thinking about what's coming in the future or
Interesting.
comparing to the past,
Okay.
right? Um, excuse me. And then when we're around 25, when that prefrontal cortex comes more online, we naturally slide into the adult chair.
Ah,
If
okay.
there's a caveat, if we had parents that or caregivers that modeled for us what healthy adults look like.
Got it. So it's possible to never make that
Most people don't.
transition.
Yeah.
Interest
Most of us live from this adolescent phase in adult bodies.
that
Yeah.
explains a lot.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Now,
explains a
it's
lot,
not
but
to
that's a big
say
aha moment,
it's a
even for me to hear that. Yeah.
because we're living off of our limiting beliefs, our old
Right.
programming.
Right.
We typically live more from fear. Now, it's not to say we don't sometimes slide into the adult. So let me give you the adult
Sure.
when we live in our adult chair, we're living in the moment.
Okay.
We're living with fact and truth versus story and assumptions. So
Mhm.
what I mean by that is, so how many times do you say or you hear people say, they're probably mad at me because of blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Well, they haven't texted me back. I'm sure they're mad about blah, blah, blah. That's a story and assumption. We don't know that that's true. So from the adult, we would come and say, hey, Elyse, you haven't texted me back in 3 days. I just want to gain some information here. Are we okay?
Mm,
That's what the adult would do.
got it.
The adolescent
This
would just go, what's going on? I don't know why that person isn't calling me back or whatever. So we live with fact and truth, and that alone busts, I call it becoming a story buster. We bust stories there
wow.
and we get out of the head and come back to the body where we want to be. We learn to recognize and witness our thoughts,
Mm,
excuse me, instead of getting lost in them.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We learn to, when we start to become aware of everything, I'm aware that I'm living in my codependency. I'm aware that I'm having limiting beliefs and I really want to do this, but I can't do this.
Right.
That's so interesting. I'm going to go explore that limiting belief. That's our adult.
Got it. That's so empowering. So even just to have that awareness that when I'm
Mhm.
in the future or in the past, or I'm making up stories and assumptions, I'm in the adolescent
Yep.
chair, right?
Every
And I'm
time.
not in wow. And how many I'm even thinking about my own day,
Of
like how
course.
many
Yeah.
times I'm in and out
Yes.
of that chair
Yeah.
throughout the day. If someone is listening to this
Mm.
and they're realizing, I've been putting on masks and
Mhm.
I haven't been my true self, and maybe they don't even know who their true self is. Maybe that's just in certain situations, like in corporate or in relationship, or maybe it feels like in every area of their life. How do we start to take off those masks
Yep.
and reconnect with who we actually are at our core and feel safe
Yep.
to do that?
We want to start what I call dropping below the chin or living below the chin instead
Okay.
of living chin up. So, chin
Mm,
up is from the head. I'm going to figure things out. I'm going to go move forward. I'm in my control mode, inner critic, whatever it might be.
right.
When we drop below the chin and get curious about what we're feeling,
Mm,
game changer. Because guess what? That's when we're connecting back to the inner child.
interesting.
We want to get in the body. We really want to get in the body and say, okay, what am I feeling? Starting to process our emotions is something that the inner child does, but with the help of the adult in a healthy way. So let me give an example. Like anger is a beautiful emotion. And from the adolescent chair, it might look like rage or explosive anger,
Mm,
where if my adult is connecting into the child, I can have anger and it just comes through me. And it's okay to be angry. It's rocket fuel. Like it's
mm,
really healthy to be angry. But yeah, so to start exploring on how do you get back in your inner child, it would be and into the adult. It's both, honestly, is start feeling what's going on.
mm.
Slow down. Get curious. Wow, that's interesting that this is happening. What do I feel about that? Interesting. So when I start reconnecting back to myself, and it sounds like airy fairy, but my heart, our hearts are so incredibly powerful.
Mm,
It's intuition,
right.
it's downloads that we talk about. Like in business, what do I do next? I don't want to know what my ego or my head is telling me. I want to feel it.
Yes. Yes.
And the way we open that up is to get back into the heart space. And again, that's the inner child as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's
Slow down and
mm,
feel.
and feel. And from there, we start to reconnect with who we truly are
Yep.
before we put on the mask.
Yep.
What if we start getting downloads or information that's scary, where it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
I think if I was going to be really authentic to myself, I would make a change. I would leave the company. I would launch my business. I would leave the relationship. How do you kind of help people navigate? I know we don't have time for the whole, the whole
Yeah. No,
process, but
no.
what does someone do with the information that shows up?
Here's what I have found because I've had to make some very scary decisions in my life or what felt
Mm,
scary to me.
yeah.
This is what I learned. And I want to hear what you think about this.
Yeah.
But what I learned was that when I'm in the moment, there was no fear.
Oh, wow.
There was no fear.
Mm,
It was interesting, and if there was fear, I would process it and it would be gone, and they say if you're truly feeling and metabolizing an emotion, it's 90 seconds.
okay.
The only reason the emotion stays is because we go back above the chin. We start we start explaining or trying to figure out why I'm having sadness, why I'm having shame. That's why we get stuck in our emotions, because I am trying to figure out why I'm having shame instead of just feeling it. But
Interesting.
when you just feel it, it comes through you and it's done. It's over. We move on.
Yeah.
Gone.
Is
Yeah.
that why as kids, it's such quick
Oh,
emotional expression and then they move through it
yeah.
and they're done, and then we learn at some point that
Yeah.
it's not safe to do that or that we can't do, and so we start to suppress, but so
Yeah. We
what
get
you're saying
shamed.
is almost go back to that the way that we did
Yes.
metabolize emotions
Yes.
as kids, and then you're able to experience it and that fear will move through your body and you'll be back to, we were talking last night at dinner, like your knowingness. You'll be back to your knowingness that's going to help guide you through whatever changes
Yeah.
need made based on what shows up.
We have to,
Uh,
as humans, regardless of what profession you're in, get back to living below the chin and back
mm,
into our bodies
yeah.
and back to reconnecting with the heart. The heart is our built-in internal navigation system.
Mm,
We've had it since we were born, and we learn not to navigate from there.
wow. Yeah.
And we've got to get back there. That is a game changer
Mm,
completely. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I know you have a course and some programs for people to connect more with their inner child. So I'll
Mm.
have you share that in a minute so
Yeah.
they can go deeper. In the moment now, though, is there anything, I don't know if you want to walk the audience through or just talk us through connecting more with your inner child, what
Yeah.
that looks like and feels like, and maybe just help people get a little bit of like a taste
Yeah.
of what that's like.
Yeah. So don't do this if you're driving, but actually, I used to do inner child work when I was driving too. But okay,
We put the disclaimer out there,
yeah,
so
yeah. I was
we're
gonna say,
legal workup.
please don't. But right now, if you just even just close your eyes for a moment and just imagine sitting next to you or nearby, who's here? Just say, who's here? I'd love to connect with a younger part of me, my child self. Do you get a sense of anybody that's nearby?
Mm.
What do you get?
I'm getting my 6-year-old
Yep, and go with,
child.
I always say, go with the
Mhm.
first thought that comes to you. So,
Yep.
you got your 6-year-old, where are they? Are they sitting next to you, sitting on you, whatever it might be?
I feel like we're outside at the park and she's sitting on a bench next to me.
Does she see you?
She's, I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe walk closer to her
Mm. Mhm.
and then tell me when she sees you, if
Yeah.
she sees you.
Okay, she sees me.
Yeah, and then say, "Hello, it's Elise. I've come back in time to visit you."
Mm. Right, it's Elise. I've come back in time to visit you.
And what happens next? What does she say or do?
Mm. I think I feel like she's feeling sad, like she's feeling rejected about
Mhm.
something.
Mhm. So let her know, "I'm here with you."
I'm here with you.
Yeah. And what happens now?
Mm. She feels more love. She feels my presence.
And maybe say to her, I really accept you for who you are. I'm so
Mm.
happy to have you here."
Yeah. At least I really accept you for who you are. I'm so happy to have you here. I love you.
Mhm. And what happens?
She's got a big smile on her face.
Yeah.
Mm.
You just did inner child work.
Wow. Just
It's
like
really
that.
powerful.
Mm.
So if she feels rejected, which is so common, by the way,
Yeah.
go back tomorrow and check in with her. It took 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe spend a little bit more time with her.
Mhm.
And then you dialogue with her and we accept the inner child. Everything that comes out of their mouths is perfect. It's
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
We don't want to change it. I want to learn from them anything that they're feeling, anything that they're experiencing, and then let them know, I've got this. I've got you. Their job, in air quotes, is to have fun, be creative, have joy, and let me know as the adult, what do you need? I've got you.
Mhm.
And what
Yeah.
happens is these inner children or the adolescent parts, but a lot of them are just the inner children, are running our lives.
Yes. Yeah.
They don't know. This is because we're working in the unconscious mind. They don't know that we exist as
Mm.
adults.
Wow.
They don't know that we've got it. So I'll say, I've got this.
Yeah.
And again, if we had like an hour, I would sit and even go deeper with you.
Right.
But yeah, that's how simple it is. So again, you ended up seeing her. Not everybody will see, but they might hear
Mm.
or they just sense, I don't know, I've got a knot in my stomach. Go there.
Connect with it.
Connect
Yeah.
with that knot. What happens when you just place your attention on the knot?
Yeah.
What happens next? Yeah.
Wow. So just whatever shows up is perfect. Don't question it. Don't judge it. Just let it be. And it doesn't need to be anything that you think it does.
The things that
Mm.
scare us most are the things we need to go right into. And
Wow.
humans don't like to do that. We go, oh, I don't want to touch that shame. Yes, because we go through it. So you go
Mm.
into your rejection,
Right.
the part of you, and it's a part of us.
Right.
A part of me feels rejected. I'm going to go in there and explore and get to know that part of me and
Yes.
let them know I was here. I don't have all the answers, but I am here.
Well, and it's so, and I'll kind of add one of my big takeaways from this conversation. And we'll share where people can connect with you and go deeper. But if someone is listening and thinking about, okay, what is the application of this in business and in sales? It's actually so beautiful that that's
Mhm.
what showed up
Yeah.
in the visualization you just did, because I was talking with my team this weekend about upper limits and where in business or in life we'll subconsciously stop our success. And
Yeah.
for many of us, and myself included, I even noticed this showing up because we recently just hit a new, what I experienced as an upper limit in our business. And I noticed there was a fear showing up in me around being rejected and outshining and not having friends and being abandoned. And so I can even see the power of connecting with that part of me, that 6-year-old. Like, no doubt she's tied in with
Yeah.
some of that and worried about if I'm too successful, if I'm too much to this, I'm going to be rejected. And so doing that healing and letting my inner 6-year-old and whatever other ages know that I've got you, I love you, I accept you. I feel that there's freedom that's going to come in the
Mhm.
business from that. And that, so it all ties together, right? It all ties together. Yeah.
I just wanna say this one last thing, and you won't look for it outside of yourself anymore.
Yeah.
It won't matter about getting other people's validation that if they're, "Oh, I hope so and so will accept me,"
Right.
because you're already accepting yourself.
Yeah. And then you don't need it
You don't
from
need it from
others.
out there. And then what happens is because like attracts like, if I accept myself, then everybody in my world is gonna accept
Mm.
me as well. Again, we have some people that might judge us, but that's a projection. But truly,
Sure.
you'll attract people in that will only accept you.
Wow.
It's really beautiful.
Powerful.
Yeah,
This is
it's
so
so energetic. It's
I
beautiful.
wish I had you for 5 hours just to go way deeper. So I know everyone listening is probably feeling the same. If someone wants to connect with you, if they wanna get involved, I know you've got a beautiful, I think you've got a resource to share
Yeah.
with the community, and you can speak more to your book coming out. Please share with everyone how they can connect further and
Yeah.
get involved in this work.
So I have and I really do mean it, it's a beautiful inner child resource if you're someone that's new to this work. It's 2 meditations and journaling prompts. This meditation, though, there are 2 meditations. It's unbelievable.
Mm.
It helps people bust limiting beliefs using inner child work, and it's just a guided meditation. I've had more comments on this than any other meditation I've
Wow.
done. But that's at theadultchair.com/inner child.
Easy.
Yeah.
You
And then the book is coming out, the Adult Chair book. This is the manual that we all should have been given when we were in school. Truly.
Mhm.
I walk through how you do inner child work. How do you feel your emotions? And then I have the 5 pillars in there. That's for another podcast, I bet. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
I would yeah.
how do we set boundaries?
Mm.
How do we build self-worth? It's all in the book. It truly is this manual
Wow.
that I wish we all had when we were in school because it would have helped me and everyone else be a healthier adult. So that comes out May 6th, but it is available for pre-order.
So exciting.
Yeah.
And people can just pre-order through your website, is that right?
You
Or
can go
Am
to Amazon, you can go to
awesome.
Barnes& and Noble, yeah, anywhere. Yeah, it's
Perfect.
out there, or my website, anywhere.
Yeah. Wow. Thank
The
you
it's
for
the
doing
Adult
this
Chair
work.
book.
Mm.
Thank you.
This is so powerful.
Yeah.
Even in just a
Sure.
very short amount of time with you in your energy and going through this work, I feel
Mm,
shifts personally, and I know that other people do as well. So thank you. I
thank
love
you.
you. I appreciate
Oh,
you.
you too. Thank you.
Ah, and to you, my listener, wow. Connect with Michelle on social media. We'll link all of her handles, all her information in the show notes. Let's make sure that you and I are connected as well. Make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast in YouTube for more incredible conversations like this. If you'd like to connect with my team to go deeper into this work and how you can quantum leap your sales, your business, your life, you can connect with us at elisearcher.com/free call. Thank you so much for taking time to invest in yourself by listening to this episode and this conversation. And I want you to remember to trust yourself on your path to success. Your desires are green lights, and they're leading you and everyone around you to a brighter future.